All right, here we are, open mic with Aly and Michelle. I'm Michelle Pozzie, and we have with us the beautiful
Aly Legge.
Aly
Good
Legge.
morning, guys.
We're gonna get T-shirts made. Legge, I love it. Then I should be Pose.
Yes. Jose
Pose.
and Legge.
I
Oh, I
love it.
love it. That's it. That's it. That's
We
we're
got
keeping
it.
it.
We got the new show. The new show's coming up. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We have a full lineup because of I don't know, the debate last night. We'll talk more about it. I want to give you a quick shot here. This is a live view in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where the debate was held. Obviously, not that building, but it's the Constitution Center. Um, didn't sound like Aly there was a live audience. I don't know. Did they pan the audience? Not from what I could
No,
see, but
I don't think there was a live audience at all. They didn't pan it. I don't think they did. Not at least while I was watching and paying attention.
right.
It seemed like it was very empty. Just I don't even know if you want to call them moderators. They weren't moderators. They were
They
more
weren't
like
moderators.
Kamala Harris.
Guys,
Um,
this is I just want to give the intro here. This is open mic. We got a fun song here. Play just a couple seconds of it from Hadass Levy, and we're gonna get started.
I love
The
that.
sirens.
Sorry, you guys, I'm outside.
It's outside in DC, so there you go.
On 9/11, no less.
Oh my gosh. Yes, 9/11.
So not only do we need to remember Benghazi, because I feel like a lot of people forget
Thank
that
you.
9/11, 2012 was also when 4 of our Americans were killed by the debauchery in Benghazi. But we also need to remember those that have fallen, who were murdered
Yep.
on September 11, 2001, 23 years ago. Insane.
23 years ago. It's
I can't
crazy. I know
believe it.
we've got memorials around the country happening, but a lot of our young people, I can remember hearing stories. I'm going to date myself a little bit about Pearl Harbor, from the
Yeah.
older generation, but I obviously wasn't there for that. So I'm hoping young people still remember what happened. But Benghazi can 100% be owned by Hillary Clinton, by Obama, and so I feel like when you take so much of the Obama camp and put it into Kamala Harris, you're not going to see anything different. They showed that in the Afghanistan withdrawal.
Yep.
So
And the
yeah.
abandonment of Americans across the world,
Mm.
which is why we ended up having congressmen go get them. Like,
And
what are we
like
doing?
Glenn Beck, like in his flights, yeah.
Private citizens and congressmen had to go rescue Americans that were abandoned by American government.
And
Think about that. And this woman wants to run for president. She's single-handedly responsible for all of this.
And Aly, didn't they ask her that specific question if she would do anything different? And
I
she
think
doubled
they did.
down
I
on
didn't
it.
catch that part.
She doubled down on it. She said, well,
Oh yeah, that's right. She did. She did. She said that she stood firm in her decision.
it was like doubling down of the Hillary Clinton. What does it matter now when I'm being asked about Benghazi? It's this
Well, what's
lack
the
of
point
leadership.
in bringing up, J6 and these fine people, very fine people on both sides?
Yeah,
It just doesn't make any sense. So when she's sitting here and she's talking about, oh, let's be unburdened by the past or whatever the hell it is that she says. But during the whole debate, she was talking about we need to turn the page. We need to turn the page. No longer do we need to focus on the things that don't matter anymore. And it was like, okay, lady, well, you're the one bringing up old shit.
I love it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I feel like we talked about this before we started taping today, that the standards were set so low for, just like when Biden debated Trump, it was like, oh, he showed up. He made his way to the podium. He formed a sentence. Wow, he was good today. Same thing with Kamala. We just, I think we just were, I was shocked that she actually had anything to say on policy, although she didn't have specifics. And she kept doubling down on Trump asking for specifics on how he's going to do this and how he's going to do that. And I just, in my mind, I kept saying, Trump, go on the offensive. She's currently in office. So I don't know. It's a hard.
One of my favorite parts, Michelle, was when he said she's adopting my philosophy. I was going to send her a MAGA hat.
MAGA
I
hat.
was like, oh, that is so fire. We do not deserve this man. I loved it.
I loved it.
I really think that everybody should send her a MAGA hat.
Oh my gosh, let's do that. Can you work?
Yes.
Can you work together a Harris campaign? Either mailing address, or so we can all send her. We'll all send her MAGA gear.
We can all send her MAGA.
Throw in some Flynn gear there. That'll be great. One of the things that they talked about last night was the former Virginia governor, of course, because the topic of abortion came up. I thought it was crazy that somehow the left cannot understand that all that happened was abortion got kicked back to the states where it should have been all along. It's not a constitutional right. It's never been. But they've got to spin that 100 different ways. Talking about the Virginia governor, the former Virginia governor, and saying that he had talked about late-term abortions, third trimester abortions, and that it's a decision once the baby's born. It's a decision between the mom and the physician. And I know she doubled down, Aly, and said that was never said, and even the moderators helped her out.
She was laughing. What bothered me the most about her, though, too, is that she laughed, and she didn't cackle like she normally does, but she did. She laughed a little. She snickered. She was smiling the whole time. You could tell she was emotional during the whole debate. And emotional leaders are not good leaders. Right. Emotional leaders are good leaders.
Am I having tea with your girlfriends? Okay, so I want to show you this quick video. Of course, people were quick to say, not so fast. So let's just take a look at this. A couple minutes, and we'll let it play through.
No exception. It was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say, this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again, we want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why.
So I want people to understand something. The reason why the reason why there is such a push to stop abortions is because our birth rate is below 2% right now. Mm-hmm. What happens when birth rates are below 2%? Population declines, civilization declines. You cannot rebuild the human population fast enough. That's why there's a push to stop it. I don't understand why this is a difficult conversation.
And the other side is looking at it like I'm just going to say it.
But what happened to COVID?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they're looking at population decline. Then you're lowering the carbon footprint of the United States.
We are the carbon they're trying to lower. I mean, it's
absolutely
what it is. But when you say stuff like that, it's like, no, we're not.
So the idea that that third term abortions don't happen, that's exactly what she said last night in the debate. You've got the former Virginia governors saying it right out, saying it in an interview, no less, that it does happen.
It was passed in legislation in California, her home state. How do you not know that as a vice president? Used to be senator.
It wasn't in the notes.
It wasn't in the notes. Oh, I like that.
And she just, yeah, that was interesting. So I just, and then the other thing, Aly, there was another brief moment where, and you alluded to this yesterday, and I almost couldn't, my brain couldn't go there because I have two fur babies here in the house with me. But when you mentioned that, eating animals, eating pets, migrants, and I thought, oh gosh, I've seen those reports, but now I got to go back and see. So of course the moderators, who I felt like Trump was debating all three of them, because since when do we fact check in the middle of a debate?
Well, since when do we have two liberals giving questions? Why can't we have a Republican and a Democrat?
Exactly. Or even like a Megyn Kelly, who's kind of in the middle sometimes.
Why have somebody like that? I mean, I don't understand why this is hard.
Absolutely.
Well, you have to be objective.
It turns out those pesky little things called body cams that police wear, obviously Trump came out and said, I love how he said this. He said the city manager may have said that didn't occur. That sounds like something that maybe a city manager in an official capacity might have to say, but that doesn't mean we don't have body cam footage. We don't have 911 calls. We don't have transcripts and eyewitnesses, like you said yesterday, that can vouch for the fact that this in fact happened. So of course I found the video, girl.
Oh my gosh.
I found the video, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet because some people might be eating breakfast or lunch.
And it's Ohio, like this is happening in Ohio. Like,
what did you do?
Yep.
Why'd you kill the cat? Smile for me. Smile over to you. Go like this. Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with me.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You call the Humane Society to see if they'll come pick this cat up. It's deceased.
Listen, and the reason why I'm laughing is because he's talking to her like you talk to a child. Like,
open your mouth.
Did you eat that? Why did you eat that? Did you kill it? Like, you're talking to your dog. Bad boy. Like, that's how it is.
She's like, oh God.
Smile. Let me see.
Like, if I see a tail hanging out of that mouth.
Being a mom, like how many times your child has had something in their mouth and you're like squeezing at their cheeks, trying to
go in for a swoop of the whole like tongue area. Oh.
Even with the dog, drop it. What are you doing?
Spit it out. Oh, I mean, so here in Florida, your dog or your cat will sometimes come in with a lizard, and the tail's still sticking out, and you're like, drop it. It's happening, guys. It's happening. And you mentioned the migrants taking over.
So JD Vance was there and gave, obviously in the back room, where they keep their delegates or whatever, and he did an interview with one of the CNN reporters, and she doubled down on the fact that it was not true. She said you've posted about it on social media, and it's you're spreading misinformation, and Trump doubled down on it to hundreds of thousands of people. And he gave like this excellent response, and he was like, as a journalist, it's your responsibility to figure out if this is actually happening. He's like,
amen.
Like, we have reports, we have the people on the ground in Ohio that are seeing this, that are reporting this, that are putting it out on social, that are putting it out everywhere. When are we going to to investigate this, whether it's half true or a little true or all the way true? Or but the bottom line is that we're experiencing this because we've been inundated with illegal immigration, and these are all results of Kamala's policy. And I loved how JD Vance responded to that. So it's really good. If you can ever find that video, we'll probably share it with you guys.
We'll share it.
Make sure you find it. It's a CNN interview that he did after the debate. It was really good.
I'll have to look for that one too, Aly. This hit home a little bit, to be honest, because not to get too overly personal, but my ancestry comes from Mexico, and my mom was first generation here in the United States, and I've heard stories from when she was growing up. They were very poor, dirt
Yeah.
floors, you know, and roadkill was a thing. I mean, it's a thing
People
when
still
you
eat
don't
roadkill.
have and when you don't have food, like it's so to think that migrants are faced with this impossible journey to get here. God knows what they endure through human trafficking, rape, whatever else you've heard of the rape trees that they have where they hang women's undergarments as and not women. I'm talking like little girls, their
Little
undergarments. So it's not uncalled for to think that this is happening and that they would come to this country and think, well, I don't have anything to eat. There's, you know what I mean? It's not.
But
This is
there's also this like underlying cultural thing too, where it's not just. I don't think it's just about food, because there's food. There's ways for you to get food, right? But I think with different cultural, religious cultures in these different countries,
right.
I think some of it could be rooted in like Santeria or in some kind of voodoo or some kind of
You're
like,
right.
religious practice where it's a sacrificial thing. Some will call it witchcraft. I don't care, whatever it is you call it. It's weird. But yet they're calling us the weird ones. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's very interesting. Last night there were some things. There was some.
No, you didn't.
I did. I went there. Little Fido. That is just not okay.
Soundboard with kitty cat sounds.
Oh yeah, I need a soundboard over here. Okay, so this is. I'm going to end the I guess the talk about the debate last night with the one thing that I think I told you this already. I really wish this would have come out earlier, right from the beginning. I was like, she's the one who's running for re-election technically because she's had the failed policies of the last 3.5 years. Let's hear a little bit of mic drop from Trump.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on.
Yeah, that's just a little segment of it there. And can I just say, Aly, I think Trump looks really, really good there. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he looked like he was really. He looked good. So we had a watch party, and I don't have the bingo sheet with me. We were playing bingo, and I missed bingo by 1 square. And you know what that 1 square was?
What was it?
Willie Brown.
Oh man!
All he had to do was say
I'm glad he didn't mention it though, because that would have just been everything that everyone was talking about today.
Yeah. That would have been.
I'm glad that they stayed away from that because. Yeah. And this is what bothers me about the whole thing. Like with there was a situation that happened in Florida where a representative. Not representative, but a couple was kind of dragged through the mud because of their practices behind closed doors. And it's the same kind of thing when it comes to Kamala Harris. Whatever she does behind closed doors is what you do. Like it's the same thing with gay people, trans people. Whatever you do behind closed doors, I don't care. Like it is what it is. Just don't make it public, and then you won't be judged for it. Like stop. Like this whole attacking people because what they do behind what adults consent to is their business. It has nothing to do with everybody else, has nothing to do with the world. Leave that alone. Let's focus on policy. Let's focus on track record. Let's focus on the things that actually matter to Americans, right?
Absolutely. So, no, I 100% agree. And when you're on the conservative ticket or you're a conservative leader, it's okay for us to hold you to some kind of morality. But at the end of the day, again, when you talk about LGBTQ, you talk about some of these other lifestyle choices, as long as we're not talking about children and we're not trying to incorporate that.
Leave the kids out of it.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody cares what you honestly do in your bedroom, but this came up yesterday as a reminder, and I thought this was kind of cool. I don't know if our viewers are aware, if we remember, but back in 2016, obviously the then Democrat National Committee chair, Donna Brazile, she since has fallen off the map. I don't know where she's at anymore. She WikiLeaks exposed and hacked her emails and found that she had fed the Clinton campaign the questions in advance. So there was some chat last night in different rooms that I was in, different X spaces that I was in about, she sounded awfully prepared, like she knew the questions and the way they fed them to her, and people, that doesn't happen. And I just wanted to say, you know what? I'm not saying it did happen.
It did happen, and it does happen. And honestly, even regardless of whether or not she had the questions, the fact is that she used like trigger words. She used J6, she used the rally, she used like all of the trigger words, all of these words that they're using. And I think there's a list. Let me see if I can find the list really quick while we're talking. But these words are just triggers for uneducated voters who don't know any better about what's going on and can't properly articulate. So these are the words, right? Charlottesville, Proud Boys, J6, racism, bloodbath, fracking, abortion project 2025. All of these words,
it's like my bingo card.
People's heads, right?
No, like, yeah.
Oh my God. And it's like, calm down. How many times do we have to like reiterate and go back to the same old talking points? So whether or not she had the questions, I mean, sometimes the way the questions were poised, they had the answers in them.
Yes. Well, and I agree. Then she brought up the fact that, and we'll get off this topic, but she brought up the fact that there's some, long-standing Republicans that are now signed on to vote for Kamala, and I'm thinking,
they're not Republican.
You ever watch like your favorite sports team finally trade the one player that you're like, we didn't want him anyway. Keep him.
You weren't on our team anyway.
Cheney's, yep. If that's the best you got, we got it, because you know what? We got a Kennedy.
Like, you weren't on our team anyway, so thanks, but no thanks.
They played closetly. They played for your team anyway. So like they just finally, I got to share this because we're just going to do a little bit of it because we got a Kennedy.
Hey, everybody. A lot of people are asking me if they live in a red state or a blue state, should they still be voting for me? What about swing states? The answer is easy. No. No matter what state you live in, you should be voting for Donald Trump. And let me tell you why. It's the only way that we can get me and everything I stand for into Washington, D.C. and fulfill the mission that motivated my campaign. Right now, free speech is under withering and relentless attack in America and across the globe. But at least we still have enough of it here where you can watch this video. We can still run an opposition political campaign.
I love that. And this is what we have now, Aly. We have a uniting of what I think really was the bedrock of maybe the Democrat Party in its glory years of the 60s, 70s, and maybe early 80s before Reagan. Now coming together, the Democrat Party has shifted so far. They have left their base, and I'm hoping that this is bringing out your moderate Democrats to really get involved in this election cycle and to vote for Donald Trump. I love it. I'm like, you can keep the Cheneys. We got a Kennedy.
We got a Kennedy. Oh, I love that. That needs to be merch. You can have the Cheneys. You can have the the McConnells. You can have the this. You can have the that. But we got a Kennedy.
We got a Kennedy. Keep them. We just traded up. One of the final things I want to talk about real quick, because I did have a friend share this with me. It's almost like we have an election coming up, Aly, because all of a sudden,
60 days,
all of a sudden, boom, it's like apparently the U.S. is going to resume their mandatory reporting of COVID hospitalizations. This is going to go into effect November 1st. There's a funny thing happening 4 days later.
Right.
So I don't know if we're going to see like a spike in
surge.
Something.
Don't go to the polls. Okay, so how about we start a count, right, on how many illegal immigrants are going into hospitals and using up our federal dollars.
Thank you.
For medical attention. How about we do that?
Lord.
How about we track that? Because that's more important. And I don't know about you, but I think everybody that I've come in contact with over the last, or like a lot of my friends over the last month or two, has come down with fluvid. It's like flu mixed with COVID. I don't know what it is, but it's terrible.
It's terrible. The headache. It's the headaches that.
Oh my God. Like I had this, the headache was just pounding. I was like, this can't be COVID. Like I'm not coughing.
Right.
But it felt like I had some symptoms of what it was like when I was sick with COVID a couple of years ago. So it's just weird. I'm like, I'm not going to test it because none of the tests are accurate anyway. I'm just going to pump vitamin C until I can't anymore, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, fluvid. But no, seriously, like, why are we doing that? And then November 1st, like people don't get sick in September. No one gets sick in October. We're just going to start counting in November to what? To do what?
If you were sick in September and October and you were hospitalized, you don't count because we don't count that. So I just want to real quick before we head out, we've got just a couple minutes. I want to plug. Listen, Aly and I are both on X. I want to just real quick show you. You can follow me at Pozzie for Florida. We've also got. I love Aly. Aly's is kind of cool. She has this. You follow Chris Ann Hall. She's got a lot of great stuff. She's this is Aly at Aly Legge. Aly Legge. So please consider following us on X. We're also both on Facebook as well and Instagram. Although, as my daughter tells me, that is more for my TikTok generation. Too, you're on TikTok too.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok too. I do videos and post them. I'll post a few from our legislative events here in DC. I'll be here till Friday. So we're having a really great time. I was actually in the bar while we were with all our moms when we were watching the debate. And
you were in DC. So what was it like? What was that atmosphere like?
It was divided. We had like the Biden, we had like the Harris waltz like outside watching it. And then you had the Trump advanced people on the inside, but it was a little mixed on the inside because the mosquitoes out here are retarded. I can't. I'm sorry if that word offends you.
Were the walls Harris people? Were they like? Were the walls Harris people like in a padded room, like rocking themselves?
It was bad. I mean, we had some really fierce mamas. Like we were in there. There were some mamas that were in there screaming like "liar," like "go Trump." It was great. But at the end, our mamas were yelling "fight, fight, fight! Let's go Trump!" It was so good. So
I love it.
So yeah, it was really fun. And of course, what we always do, we advocate for freedom. And so we were up here. We were having conversations with people. We were trying to engage the Harris supporters. Like, why is it you support her? Did you vote for her in the primary?
Do you get that a lot, Aly? Do you get, as a woman of color?
Right.
Do you get that a lot?
I was asked that, like, if I had a penny every time somebody asked me, as a woman of color, how do you feel? What do you feel about Kamala Harris? I don't feel anything. That's my answer. I don't feel anything as a woman, period. I feel nothing about Kamala Harris. I think she's a liar. I think she's fake. And I think she should be far away from public office and far away from public policy. But then I'm also getting, as a woman of color, how does it feel to be a conservative?
Oh my gosh. Aly, we're up against a hard break. This is why the show needs to be an hour, guys. You need to follow both of us, and we'll see you 2:30 tomorrow, same time, same place. Love you guys.
Bye, guys.